Welcome to Your Life Story, a space to explore the journey from survival to authenticity. I'm Sajine, and here we dive into the raw truths of breaking free from expectations we've grown up with, rediscovering our voices, and thriving after life's challenges. But this isn't just about my story. It's about life. From relationships and self-discovery to the messy, beautiful questions we all face. No topic is off limits here. So if you're ready to embrace courage, healing, and living life on your own terms, you are in the right place. Let's connect. Let's grow. Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a licensed therapist, counselor, or medical professional, and the content shared here is based on personal experiences and insights. If you're facing significant challenges, please seek the support of a qualified professional. Remember, your journey is unique, and you deserve the care and guidance that's right for you. All right, welcome. I am so happy to have you here again with me. We're going to have some fun here today as far as how we're going to take care of ourselves. I think it's important that we do these things because who else is going to think about it, right? So today it is an interesting topic. It's called PTSD, Emotional Intelligence and Healing, How to Break the Cycle of Trauma. I think it's important because we need to reflect on our lives and see why you're stuck in the same cycles and to see if it's possible to truly heal from trauma, even if you've never been officially diagnosed with PTSD. If you ever asked yourself these questions, this one's for you. I recently read Emotional Intelligence by Dr. Daniel Goleman, and let me tell you, it changed how I saw myself, my past, my healing, and it also helped me see how others feel in their lives. It is so interesting to see how the way we are brought up in our lives has so much to do with the way that we react or even be, if we are extroverted, introverted, if you've been called shy, quiet, or just really loud. There are things that happen when you grew up. And sometimes the parents that you have or had did not have that opportunity either of being helped out. So I think that's why I feel so strongly about this, and I would like to be able to share this with you. It helps me and it helps you. So today we're going to dive into how PTSD, diagnosed or not, roots itself in childhood and how it affects your emotional regulation, how you can start healing with compassion and power. How PTSD starts before we know it. Let's start with this. Not all PTSD looks like war, flashbacks, or panic attacks. Sometimes it looks like always choosing the wrong partner, constantly overworking or numbing out, feeling like you're too much emotionally, getting defensive or shutting down when triggered. These are so important because we choose partners that are unavailable, to us, or something that we are so used to seeing as we grow up or wherever we're at, how we're taught, and we don't think anything's wrong. I remember for so many years I was taught, that's just how men are. And I'm like, okay, so if that's just how men are, then I'm just going to have to suck it up and I'm going to keep moving forward. And I will see how much I can pray my little heart out so this individual can change. But at the same time, it's like basically you, like it says here, you numb yourself out and it's not okay. It also happens when you're at work. You work yourself to the bone because you want to be seen, but no one's seeing you and they're only hurting you. So guess what? You're numbing out again. uh, you know, feeling like you're too much emotionally. We keep our emotions so much to us, and we feel like we're some rare anomaly that no one's going to understand it, neither us. So we just, numb it out again. And then it starts seeping out of us with our emotions. And then either others or ourselves, we tell ourselves that we're too much. Why? Because now everybody's looking at us like we're some interesting individual. And we get defensive and we start shutting down when we're triggered. And then nobody's happy. And then they think you're non-communicative because why? You are now panicking. And more often than not, this starts in childhood when our caregivers didn't model emotional safety or resilience. Maybe they yelled, ignored, dismissed, or shamed. We never learned how to regulate ourselves. And I believe that also happens in our school systems, because how many times have we been told to quit it, to quiet up, to make us feel ashamed, or they dismiss or they ignore us? So what happens? We grow up and carry these emotional instability into our adult lives, and then the body doesn't forget. Your nervous system learned patterns before you could even speak. And that is terrifying to think that even before you could speak, these things happened. What unhealed trauma looks like in adults. Unhealed trauma often hides in plain sight. You binge eat or drink when stressed. You know how many restaurants and pubs and whatnot are so, I'm not saying everybody, don't get me wrong. People go because they're trying to numb out their pain for eating or even drinking because they're stressed. Now, like I said, I'm not blaming everybody or diagnosing everybody that they're there because of that. No, but a lot of them are. You sleep too much or not at all. Yes, there's people who can spend years just sleeping hours and hours because they just can't face it anymore. Or they don't sleep because they're work, because they believe if they sleep, who knows what might happen. You keep choosing emotionally unavailable people. I think that is one of the ones that is really bad, because we're always taught in school, oh, that kid, the one that's bullying you, pulling your hair, just because it means he likes you. So you start, now they've gaslit you, and now you're gaslighting yourself, and you think, yeah, maybe that kid does like me. But no, they don't. They're being abusive. Walk away, because now you're learning to choose unavailable people. So I believe that's something that we need to start telling ourselves and our children, because that's not okay. You fear rest, success, or intimacy. Fears for everything. Fears for food, perfumes, people, places, things. Fear is one huge mess on there. And if you're afraid to rest, that's hard. You need to rest because you need to feel better. If you fear success because now you have imposter syndrome, you think that, no, I'm not going to make it. Why? Because other people have made you feel like you're less than anything. And it's just because they want to stay where they're at. What better way than to silence and quiet people down so they can stay where they're at? I don't call that a leader at all. Or you fear intimacy. Why? Because who knows the person that you were with, how did they treat you? They treated you horribly. They abused you. Why? Because that person did not want a relationship. They just wanted to control someone so they can feed their own interesting Machiavellian lives. You're always on edge or always tired. A lot of people are, they snap at you, or they're just feeling scared, anxious, or they're tired all the time because their mind is going 100 miles an hour and they just don't know how to calm it. These are not flaws in your character. They are symptoms of dysregulation. Your brain and body are trying to protect you the only way they know how. Let's take the shame out of that. I believe that is not something that you really want in your life. I think we are allowed to live because life is beautiful. Complicated, but beautiful. I wouldn't even say complicated. I like to say multifaceted. If you don't know what that means, it means it's like a diamond, it has so many sides to it. So, why emotional intelligence is the missing link? So, while reading The Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman made something very clear to me. IQ might get you the job, but EQ, emotional intelligence, determines how you live your life. And I think that's important because the thing is without that, you don't know how, you're always on edge, and how much are you going to stay there at that job or whatever place that you're at. Emotional intelligence is recognizing what you feel and why. Managing those feelings instead of being managed by them. I believe that is something true, that a lot of us, we have our feelings manage ourselves instead of us managing them. And it's because we have not been taught really great coping skills, and I think that's important to have. Having empathy for others without losing yourself. This is so hard because in an age where empathy is going down tremendously, it gets bad, And I believe that empathy is something that you need to teach yourself, your children, anyone that you can, because without it, then I believe we take the human out of us, and then we become people that we don't like. And I don't think that's okay, because I believe you need to live and you really need to feel. Being able to pause instead of react. How many times has somebody said something to you and your blood pressure goes from 0 to 1,000 in less than a nanosecond, and you start just going at the person who either doesn't understand, is naive, or just plain bully, and you now have given that person control over you. You've basically, I like to say, is you've allowed somebody in the perimeter of your body, and now the enemy is trying to come in, and they come in at full force. And how are you supposed to protect your body and your system if you have now allowed somebody in there when they're not allowed to be there? Unfortunately, emotional intelligence isn't automatically taught. And if you grew up in a chaotic or critical home, it's very likely you had to suppress your emotions to survive. Why? Because you did not want to be left out. You did not want to be hurt. You are a child, or even a spouse, and you depend on food, your home. Nobody wants to see themselves out there without those things, because why? As human beings, we need to survive, and we need to figure things out. But there's the beautiful part. It's never too late to learn. And I think this is something that is very, very important. So I have here realistic ways to heal from PTSD and build EQ, emotional intelligence. Whether you have been diagnosed with PTSD or just have a hunch, you deserve to heal. Whether you've been here are some practical steps that help me and many others on their healing journey. Number 1, learn your triggers without judging yourself. Start noticing what throws you off. Tight chest, short fuse, zoning out. Write it down. Name the emotion. That's the first step to regulating it. Why? Because I think it's important to analyze what's going on in your body and see how you fix it. I mean, so many people, when they see their precious car or anything that is valuable to them, they will go above and beyond to diagnose what is the issue and see what they need to do to fix it. But we won't do that with ourselves, and we need to start doing that with ourselves. 2, daily grounding practices. I think this is great. It's important to see that you're okay. These are lifesavers for trauma brains or people who have gone through trauma. Number 1, walk barefoot in the grass. But be careful, of course, Make sure it's clean. Walk barefoot in the grass. It feels so good, fresh, and it feels great to be out there in nature. You can hold some ice cubes in your hand. Why? That's actually waking you up, right? Yeah, it melts, but you know what? It feels great. Then there is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding. Name 5 things you see, 4 you can touch, etc. 3, inner child work. Talk to that version of you who was scared, silenced, or shamed. Write letters to them. Let them know they're safe now. I think this one's important. And just don't say it in your head. Say it out loud. I heard that if you say it out loud, your brain hears it better because it's going through your ears. If you can say, you are safe. You're loved. You're going to make it. Those things resonate in your mind so quickly and it calms you down. If you notice it, even with me right now, it makes my shoulders relax and I feel great. Write it down though. Why? Because you deserve it. 4, reduce or replace numbing behaviors. Start small. Instead of binging a show to escape your feelings, I'm guilty for that, try journaling first. You get tired and it all comes out and it feels great. Swap one coping mechanism for one that soothes your nervous system. 5, therapy or support groups. Even if you're not ready for therapy, which I wasn't for, a long time. 1, because no money, because of the situations I went through. Or you just don't have that trust yet because it takes a while to interview a therapist. Not all are the same. Not all of them know about trauma. Support spaces online or local trauma recovery groups. Support groups online are wonderful. They're there for you. Even just, YouTube or Instagram, advocates. People who don't know you, but they've been through it and they speak to you about it. I think it's important because now you feel like nobody's judging you. Nobody knows anything about you, but they are providing the information that you need off the bat. We need to start thinking that help is something normal in our journey. Why? Because we need it. Practice self-compassion daily. That's number 6. Talk to yourself like someone you love. Healing is messy. It's not linear, but you're not broken. You're learning. This is great because you have been hurt so much and told that you are worthless, that you're trash, or you're shy, you're too much, you're a Miss Chatty Cathy, or whatever people love to learn to put on you. But I don't think you've ever told yourself you need to love yourself, to respect yourself, to heal yourself. And when you start doing that, start saying to that inner child, I love you, and I hug you because you should have been hugged and loved and understood more when you were little. And it helps a lot. And yeah, there's times where you go forward and there's times you go back. But I believe it's something that, we can do. We can do that on a daily basis and don't feel ashamed because it's something better for your life. I think it's important to always find any type of materials out there that will help you. Why? Because some people can't help you. I get it. Some people are in their own world, having their own issues. Some people just don't care. Others are just loving seeing you going through the issues that you're going through. And I believe it's time that you helped yourself out. Why? Because some people just are that way. And so go out there, do exercises, go sit out on the porch, go read a book, make yourself some tea, eat some great vegetables or fruits, find great people to talk to, or if not, if you can't trust humans at the moment, grab a pet. Pets are awesome. They're there and they love you and they're there. Whatever you need to do it for yourself. Why? Because you're worth it and you need to be able to live an awesome world. So my final thoughts on this for, empowerment is, here's what I want you to take away today. You are not your trauma. You are not your habits. You are not the mistakes you made while trying to survive. Your healing and emotional intelligence is not just a buzzword. It's the skill that will set you free. One pause, one breath, one choice at a time. If you're listening to this, it means you're already doing the work, and I see you. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone you love. Tag me on my Instagram and let me know what's the one thing you're doing this week to build emotional intelligence. And if no one told you today, you're doing so much better than you think. I think this is a great time to have you here and just enjoy the time that we've had. Talk to me, send me any information that you need or you want to talk about. I value it. Why? Because I believe that we can all help each other out, because there's people who just don't want to help. But here, it's a safe space where we can say, hey, I would love to heal. And any suggestions will be great, so I can continue helping you out. Check out my YouTube and Instagram, like I said, or Spotify. And there's information there for you. And I'll keep moving forward and I'll keep getting also better. And I'll be excited to be there on this journey with you. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Your Life Story with Sajine. I hope it gave you something to think about, feel, or explore on your journey. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share it with someone who might need it or reach out to connect. I think you are worth it. Until next time, thank you so much.